Hello, and welcome to another video from the Brotherhood of Broken Banners. This week, we thought we'd do something a little different, and if you've clicked on the video, you probably already know that you're in for a long one. That's right, this episode, me and a special guest will be running down the newest patch. I'm hoping you'll find this a good listen while you grab your brushes and catch up on some painting, do some cooking, some cleaning, or even go about your normal school or work commute. One exciting announcement before we begin: we now have a merch shop on Printify to raise money for tournament prizing in local communities. If you want some cool swag, check out the store in the links below. Finally, as always, please like the video, comment about something you agreed or disagreed with, and subscribe so you can get our videos hand delivered to your feed when they come out. It helps grow the channel so we can share this awesome game with more people. Now, let's get into it. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Brotherhood of Broken Banners, and today we're bringing you guys a special episode. I'm joined by a very special guest, West Coast Bannerman. Karl, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Karl. I attempt to run the West Coast Bannerman group in such a way as far as YouTube and Discord, and we have a Northern California Facebook. But it's much more of a collaborative effort. So thanks to all the WCB out there and all of those West Coast groups that keep their locals running. Without you guys, we wouldn't have a game to play. So
yeah, this game is definitely held together by all of these communities, and I love supporting you, and I know you guys support us, so it's great to work together, and I'm glad we were able to collaborate on this one.
Absolutely. I've been looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. So we've got a really interesting patch. There was a couple huge changes, some smaller changes, We'll get into that. Definitely join our Discord, or do you guys have social medias? I guess you just said the Facebook page, right?
All of the Facebook groups are like very localized. So ours, we have a Northern California one. And honestly, I got to be honest, I think the only people that are still active on Facebook in the world is Simon at this point. So
that's kind of funny. That's pretty true as well.
I gotta be honest, we are not active in Facebook at all. So it's more about Discord for us anyways, and we will link that in the description for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'll throw that down there. Now that we're done kind of plugging where to find us and talk about this patch, you also have a pretty exciting announcement, don't you?
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it or heard it, or it hasn't been talked about around you yet, the U.S. Nationals tickets and room links are live. Woohoo! It's been a lot of work and collaboration and exciting plans and ideas, brainstorming, and et cetera, happening. It's basically just grabbed a bunch of TOs that have a broad reach from around the U.S. and we got together and did a spreadsheet of different options and venues, and then we took a big vote, and
where is it being held?
And and we have decided on unanimously, by the way, very the number one pick by far is Chicago this year. So hopefully. Me saying Chicago perks your ears up and you get excited for it, because that's where it's going to be. Chicago on October 11th, 12th, and 13th. 11th and 12th will be the main event, and then that Sunday evening on the 12th will start the team event. So big announcement there. The first U.S. team event at Nationals will be happening as well. So links in the description for tickets. They are live. Grab them. Right now we have an early bird price. Just follow the instructions on the badge. Buy your badges. And also, big shout out to Brian. He's our head TO this year.
Okay.
He put together a video on his YouTube, which we can hopefully link, and that talks about we go through the process of buying a badge.
Lots of links.
Yeah,
definitely. No, we can have all that information down in the links down below. Does he have a Discord handle if people need to reach out to him?
Yeah, Edge Hopper, one word. Edge Hopper, spelled normally.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Awesome guy. He's been really amazing at just I guess taking the lead is the term I'm looking for. So thanks to Brian for doing all the venue stuff and taking the seat, no questions asked, of head TO this year. I know he loves to play too, so it's always a
It's a little bit of a
that mo
sacrifice
yeah,
having
oh
to
for
TO the
sure.
tournament.
And something like this, especially, is a lot more work than a normal,
Oh, it's
monthly
huge, yeah.
local event. So there's a little bit of stress, a little bit of extra responsibility and stuff. So huge shout out to Brian for that, for
Yes,
sure.
definitely. Yeah, I know some of the guys over here from the Broken Banners have been helping out, get stuff organized, and participate in the polling, what's going on. So, if your
Absolutely.
local group wants to reach out, give a shout out. We could talk about what's going on and how to participate and get involved. Right?
100%. I'll try to be as active as I can with comments on this. I want to say video, but is this a vlog or
It'll
is this a
it's
podcast?
kind of somewhere in the middle, isn't it?
Okay. Um, So we'll probably, when we in the little national section down below, we'll probably have the email as well. It's a public email for any questions, concerns, or suggestions. If you want to donate prizes or anything like that, please reach out to that email.
Sounds good. Yeah, because this is entirely community sourced, isn't it?
Yes. So we don't have any special funds or discounts from the head honchos at CMON or anything like that. So
With I guess most of those shout outs out of the way, let's start with the news. Season 6 just dropped the other day. A little bit of a surprise announcement. I know I was in the middle of work meetings and I looked down at my phone and somebody goes, "Patch is live." I'm like, "Uh oh!" I had to update my phone really quick and start to get all the information out as quickly as possible.
it was so nice to have a date. Like we were planning a live reaction stream for the Warden's West Coast Bannerman YouTube channel because I've been trying to do more on that. It's quite a bit of work, as you know,
Oh, I
editing
know.
and creating. But a little live stream reaction would have been fun, and we planned it out. And then this drops, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, how do I even? Where's the link? How do I show people? What? And it was just a mess.
It's
But
it's it's fun when it
it's
gets dropped early, but it's
yeah,
also a
it
lot
is
of
it is
headache
kind
when
of
you have all
fun.
the plans, right? But here we are. And
Yeah,
you know what? I'm glad I got the rules because we're able to also record a little bit earlier than we planned to do this. So
that's true. I 100% agree. I just like to be there for people, I guess. Like
no, I get
here's where you find this, and here's where you go for this. And I wasn't able to do that.
Yeah, I
So,
know. I've been in our Discord just putting out like the FAQs of no, you're not the neutrals don't do this, and this actually goes to that, and the app is bugged for this interaction right
yeah,
now. We got news a little early from the patch that there would be one big change to the rules, which was that we're going to be, instead of having 40 points flat for your army, you get 4 bonus points specifically for attachments.
this is hard to react without having any experience with this. But I guess over the main reaction from me is excitement to try to break this because that's really what gaming is, right? Like
Yeah,
I want to
definitely,
find
especially when you're
I want to
trying to do it
find
at a
the best
competitive level.
combos and yeah, I mean the game is a competition between players to see who wins. It's not a co-op, which would be cool by the way if we had a co-op version against some White Walkers or something.
More
But
on that
anyways,
later.
yeah, yeah, but like without having specific experience from myself, I was just like kind of why is this happening? I didn't think that the community reacted well to it at first when it was first a thing, what, a year ago? Or was yeah, I think it was a year ago when it first came as like an option.
Yeah, I think it's been an alternate list building in the tournament guidelines. That was like something that they were like, hey, if you're doing a small game like 30 points, you get 3 points, 40 points is 4, and 50 points up is 5. I know on our side, we actually ran a couple of the tournaments because season 5, as is tradition, towards the latter half of a lot of patch cycles, it gets a little boring fighting the same couple armies every time. So we mixed it up and we did a 40+4, and there were some cool changes. Like a couple things that I really like seeing. There was like a really cool Harma combination where they like outflanked with Jarl and then regroup reform the Harma onto the Jarl, so they were sentineling from behind. It was like there was some like cool stuff
cool.
that you just don't see when there's no attachments, and I think that was the thing they were really trying to push this one, and that's what they said. They were like, we want to see more people using attachments. We got these cool characters, let's see them be played.
Yeah. So my mixed reaction was excitement and also just like nervousness. I think is a key word because with something like this, with that is basically a core rule change, they got to do it right. I was just hoping that there was way more to it than just here's an extra 4 points of attack. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. That's
and I
could see that.
Yeah, and I will share a little bit of last year's not 2025 but 2024 LVO's After Dark event we had. It was like 50 points. It's actually very similar, and this was before they released the optional tournament list building format. I have it right here. It was called Big Beautiful Combat. Painting is required. I had a big tub of 3D terrain, and people brought custom ones, and I didn't care what kind of terrain it was. You could bring a river, or this was all about making a beautiful table. So the main point of this is the rule parts, which is a Big Beautiful Battle was 60 points per player on a 4x5, because only 50 points of those could be non-attachment points. But so this is similar, right? And mine's even crazier as far as free attachment points. I removed the limit of 1 per unit, period. So you could just have like 5 attachments in a unit, right? I mean, this is the point of this mode was to like create beautiful scenarios and thematic like units and stuff. So this was, this is not about balance at all.
Yeah, right? I'm starting to see that.
You can also add more than one commander. One commander per unit, and each commander adds their tactic cards to the deck. Yeah, ignoring all like replace card instructions. Okay. And then for each commander that you add, you increase your starting, max, and refill hand size by 1.
Oh, so you can get just through. Wanted to load as many commanders as you could. Huh.
So you basically have like 5 units that are like 10-point Death Stars each, all with a commander, and then you have like a bunch of cards in hand. And it was just a crazy combo, beautiful battlefield of it, like an epic game type of thing. Yeah, I kind of felt like while I was watching, it felt like when I would watch like a 40K game. They're just like, and then this and this and this, and then this does this to this, and then this on this dice roll, and then I'm just like, wow. So it was a little much, but so I guess I have a little bit of experience with the epic. So when I first saw this, not the epic, but with the extra attachments and the epic, I guess. But with the extra attachment points, I have a little bit of experience, and I just so I was like, I have experience with it failing, kind of, not really failing, but just being too much. So I was like, oh, I hope they do it right, because this is the walking on the edge here kind of thing. So there's my whole spiel on my reaction to that. I was like very concerned. Was the heaviest emotion I had.
That's fair. And yeah, anytime there's like a core rule change, it's always like, is this gonna just ruin the thing that I like to do? But I think this is handled relatively well. It's honestly not that easy to fill 4 points of attachments, is what I've found when I've been sitting here for the last day, just plugging stuff into a list, and we'll explain why as we get down farther. But like, it was kind of,
yeah.
I'm sitting there and I'm like, I have 1 point to put here and I have a point to put there, but then I don't have a third attachment slot for this, and it was very tricky. And I'm sitting there like, do I split this 7 point unit into a 5 and a, like just trying to
Like
decide. And honestly, yeah.
usually you like having these questions, right? Like these tough decisions.
Yeah, no, it's
Uh,
been opening up so much like list theory crafting, and I definitely I am so excited to get out there and see if my new 5 point units, because some units drop points and it's really awesome. It can compete with an extra 2 point attachment in them for free or something like that.
yeah, yeah. I think it's like having tough decisions on list buildings is great, but so far right now it's like for me anyways, my perspective isn't about having these tough decisions aren't about like two or three NCUs or like what style of play the list. I'm just trying to make the list work while using the 4 points. Like so
Yeah, exactly.
it doesn't feel good yet as far as like I can do this or this or this.
Oh,
It's
you see,
not
I'm
that.
enjoying that part.
It's no. I want to have that part. Like I don't. I'm saying I don't have that yet. I have.
Okay.
I'm just trying to make it work so that I can use the 4 points like without having leftover points or in a or like without feeling forced to use like what this one unit is the only point level unit I can use just to make this 4 points attachments work with this list. Like that's how it feels so far for me. But there's a big asterisk to this, and that is I play Boltons and neutrals. So like,
Yeah, that, and we'll get into that one, but yeah, that's that might contribute to a little bit of the feelings. You see, I'm on the side of I just got half of my army unlocked to use now, which is kind of cool.
that's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super happy. I cannot wait to play some Targaryens and a little. I might pick my free folk back up because they got some cool stuff. But there was another relatively big announcement or change, and you said it kind of earlier, and that's the epic game size that they also showed off. It's not
I
part of the
guess.
official rules. It's kind of like an appendix, but boy,
Yeah.
it's a
Where
big
did they
appendix.
locate this? They put it
It's like its own
its own rule book.
yeah, it's
It's,
like its own link, and it's like two
yeah.
pages. I'll
Yeah.
shoot
I
it
see
over to
it.
you one sec.
It's basically its own doc that's not part of the rule book. That's
Yeah, because
in the
it's like
same
it's not even
style.
like alternate army rules or whatever, or alternate game mode. It's like yeah, go have like a crazy time. And what it looks like is it's just gonna be if you like Warhammer sized like battles where you've got like 100 dudes running at 100 dudes. That's what you're gonna like because epic game size, as the name implies, is 80 points that you can use.
Yeah.
Now, there's still a couple FAQs that I think need to be cleared up because they don't mention
Yeah.
attachment points. There's not great, there's not great.
The
Yeah, the
objectives because
objectives. Thank you.
that was my that yeah this is my list that I responded to Brick. We're on the same page. Like it
Yeah,
was
and it's definitely like stuff. I read your list and I was like, yeah, no, that's kind of important, isn't it? But it sounds like it could be a really fun thing. However, the battlefield's only a 6x4, so I'm trying to think of like some of the crazy lists and just how am I going to physically fit all of the units into the deployment zone. Like it's got to
yeah
be
it's
an
gonna
extended deployment zone at that point.
yeah it's gonna be a fun time. I'm
Oh
definitely gonna
yeah.
try it out.
I'm imagining
Uh,
like a whole row of archers, like being let like with a whole bunch of like peasants or something in front of them, and then just run them at each other. Just go enjoy.
it
And
reminds me of
yeah,
those like YouTube clips where I forget like battle simulators where they're like watch Obi-Wan take on 600 T-Rexes or something and
yeah,
they
yeah. Or my favorite was always the RuneScape ones where they're like, how many chickens does it take to kill this boss? And they just throw
yeah.
chickens at it. Yeah, no, it's gonna be interesting, and I hope they like kind of riff on this in the future with stuff like maybe this would be a really cool way to do a 2v2 game mode. Like kind of in the rules. It's 80 points, which is two 40 point armies.
Yeah. That's another note I guess to mention like this is something that a lot of people have wanted and I love that it's here. I'll just say that period. It's like I love that it's now here we can mess around with it. We can give some feedback, and where I guess, which is another sad part, they still haven't told us where to put stuff. But apparently, Facebook, like I mentioned earlier, is where they live. So,
Yeah,
um,
everybody bust out the old Facebook if you still got it.
yeah, bring out your Facebook and tell them your thoughts on stuff.
I
But
mean, I
it,
think the craziest part about this is they took the tactics board and they just put a second slot under each of the original five that has a
yeah,
much weaker but still interesting effect. Like the bags is just heal 2 wounds. The letters you just draw one tactics card, nothing else. The horses is only a retreat. Like some cool stuff like that, which honestly, like, yeah, you don't want to have to double up on those, but it definitely gives you a reason to bring more than 3 NCUs. Like you could bring
yeah.
the whole court with you, 80 points, it's a
I,
lot to work with.
yeah, I think there's a lot of interactions that they probably didn't think about with,
Allison.
but but I do love how they went in and tried. Like they have a whole section here on control rules, controlling zones, and minor versus major slots, and like that they did some good work on this. I'm not I love it. I think it's great. I don't know what's up with mini swords. Yeah, I'm removing one condition token. That's from specifically engaged friendly unit is the
Yeah,
only
get
thing you
wrecked
get
archers.
for for mini swords. Which maybe they tested hits and it was too much, or I don't know. But
Yeah,
um,
I'm excited to try this one out with some friends. I mean, it looks like it'll take forever to play though. That is one thing. Is like imagine it's basically like moving 2 games at the same time. It's gonna take forever. But
yeah,
I
but
think
that's why
we're gonna get a drink. We're gonna go hang out at somebody's house and just bust one of these out one day.
100%. Yeah, I mean you could very easily. So what I was trying to get to is I'm super glad that it's here. I'm super glad that it can be refined in the future. But, with that being said, there has been a huge cry for help, or not help, but a huge, since very early on for something just like this, but for 2v2s, like you said earlier. Like,
Oh
so
yeah,
I don't know if this is the start of that, and they say Epic Game Size 2v2 version, in the next patch they'll have a different version of this for 2v2 or something like that. I don't know, but
I mean that could
I'm
even
glad that
be a
it,
community driven thing. I know, like
well, what
other.
always has been, right?
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
the TV2 stuff is already here from the community, but
But
I
this could be
mean,
a good alternate. I know, like for instance, I'm trying to compare it to like the some of the Asian groups that I've heard of. They have like the draft format, and I don't know if that's like in the rules or that got added because they adopted it. Like how exactly all that stuff comes up, but like if people play it that way, eventually it'll become the way people play. So I'm excited, and I
yeah,
hope people just try it out. Honestly, like it doesn't sound very hard to make this into the 2v2.
100%. I'll definitely be trying it out, but I can already see myself doing a little bit of house ruling
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna.
for
I'm
sure.
probably not gonna play it until the FAQ comes out. But once it does, I'm booking some time with some friends.
Yep.
The one thing that I guess it would be nice for them to do in the future is like take the old FAQs and start to merge them into the rule book a little bit, kind of clean that up, because it is like when you're playing this game, sometimes you feel like you have to have the rule book open and the FAQ and your unit card and the community notes, and sometimes it gets a little confusing.
So yeah, so on that note, I I don't know, or I don't really have a positive or negative reaction to the brand new rule of auto pass and auto fail panic rolls,
Yeah, I guess we should
or
mention that one,
or
huh?
morale test rolls. Yeah, I mean, like I guess they really want you to roll those dice when you need a 2 up.
Yeah,
I
I
guess
think
is that
it makes sense that like everything in the game is theoretically panicable. Like even like the dragons at the 2 up, like a dragon can be panicked, It's just they made it so that it was impossible to roll, such it wasn't unless they were modified.
Yeah. So it's just funny to see. Like I don't know why they added it, but
I
it
think it
just
was
it
one of
just
those things where it every other roll in the game more or less had the auto pass, auto fail when you rolled
oh
max or
yeah.
min. So I guess it was just kind
So
of trying to standardize it.
yeah, yeah. So why have a special case just for morale? Yeah,
I
that
do
makes
want to
sense.
point out one funny interaction that if because not all the units got changed, if your unit still has a 2-up morale, you will auto fail if you roll 2 1s, even though you rolled the 2-up. The only thing that it protects is like, say you have intimidating presence on you, your the +1 and the -1 will cancel, so you're not now at a 3-up. You fail. You're still only the 2-up.
I
That
need
was
a
funny.
three. It is funny. Yeah, it helps with negative modifiers, I guess.
Yeah,
But
that's literally
having
the
it
only
having a
the
two
only
up,
use for it. If you're getting crown zapped on a 2-up, it's still only the 2-up.
I don't like auto pass though. As a Bolton player, I'm not happy about that. I
So you
have
gotta take your
definitely
wins with
made
your losses, huh?
I've definitely made yeah, but I guess the odds are the same of rolling either one.
Yeah,
But
it's
it just
like
felt
sub
it just felt
5%. I
good to
forget.
stack. It felt good to stack like a -6 or 7 and be like, you cannot pass this. Finally, you're gonna fail a panic test. I've been trying all game. You've
And
been
it's
rolling
always the
hot.
units that have like the 7-up that have been saving super well.
Yeah,
It's never
yeah,
like the
exactly.
4-up one where you're like, all right, take a -1. Now you fail the rest of them forever.
Yeah, no, but it's fine. It's kind of here nor there kind of thing. It's totally fine. They added that, and then they added the list building stuff, and which big surprise. There's a section of it that's ambiguous, and apparently that little section has been there all along. So it's basically solved as far as what do they mean. There's a section about what you can bring as far as attachments,
Yeah.
and it just says neutral units. But apparently in the rule book, uh, uh, the term unit refers to everything that a faction has. So it's very like just broad language.
Okay.
It's just weird how they call out attachments in the same paragraph and then they don't call out neutral attachments when they say you can bring neutral stuff. But we've been apparently that's been there the whole time, so it doesn't mean anything. Like people
Funny
were
language
reading it,
stuff.
yeah. So that's just another funny that always happens with every patch. like,
Yeah, I
like, what does
mean,
this mean?
but yeah, hopefully the FAQs will clear some of this stuff up. But as it stands, I know that with the 40 or the 4 extra points, I should say, that's only for in faction attachments. So you
Yeah.
can't take, unfortunately, like Jokin, the 2 point attachment, can't go into the that 4 point thing. And also, I guess we glossed over it, but no more taking neutral commanders in any army that's not a neutral army. So if you've
Uh,
got your
yeah.
Lannisters no longer can run Roos, or Jokin can't lead the Stormcrows for some reason. He has to be in the neutrals to do that.
Oh, the
Like,
Targaryen
yeah,
Stormcrows.
if you have a Targaryen army that
Yeah.
you're focusing on Stormcrows, you have to take all the Targaryen specific units out if you want to keep using Jokin. Which, I'm a little sad about. I understand that sometimes if they had a good neutral unit or commander, he was kind of omnipresent in the game. Like, I know Vargo was starting to creep up in usage. I saw him, like, everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I'm happy about it. I'm a little sad that it wasn't just limited, and I mean I think everybody, including myself, got really excited for this patch. Really helpful, really big eyes because of Brotherhood release. So we saw what Simon was willing to do, and that is affiliate factions with factions, and everybody got super effing pumped about that. and then the preview of season 6 comes and like, yes, like they're gonna limit the neutral commanders. It's gonna be more thematic. This is stuff that is directly from the preview article, right? Like
Yeah.
limiting neutral commanders and
They
more
did say
theme.
limiting, not basically banning.
Yeah, and then it comes, and none of that is here, and because of the way the season 6 came, it's like I don't think they released the full patch yet. Like this must be like version 1 or something, like a leak. And then today, of the day of the record of us recording, no, Simon Simon has now released documents on their site, and this is it. So it's been a little bit of like a coping with like we're not expecting anymore because we thought there was going to be like some direct like certain factions can bring Vargo and certain factions can bring Roose, just like Targaryens can bring Dario, and that is not here. So it's just a little like, okay, this must be like a first step. Simon's pretty slow with things overall. They always have been. So
And I understand
season
that
7,
you don't want to literally upend the game. We just did the whole 40+4 change. Now maybe they should have kept neutral commanders and then started pulling them back or something like that. But it's one of those things where I know I preferred to run the in-faction guys when possible. The only exception, honestly, was Jokin when I was playing Targaryens.
yeah, Jokin's
So,
good.
Yeah, he was fun.
Jokin's so good.
On my little soapbox right now, that
Yeah.
he's a Stormcrow. He's literally the Stormcrow captain. And
Yeah.
he doesn't have a Targaryen version of it. And I get maybe like lore wise, he wasn't like following Dany. He was just in her army. So like whatever. But the fact that I can have in-faction Stormcrow units that can't be run by an in-faction like commander is kind of frustrating. On the other hand, I also know like Roose kind of could be affiliated to the Starks and the Lannisters at some points, and I think it would have been really cool, like you're saying, to give them like affiliation. You can run Roose, go for it. He's your he is lore tied to it. I understand not putting Roose in, I don't know, Martells or Free Folk. Well, obviously not Free Folk, Night's Watch or whatever. But yeah, it's maybe they'll pull back and give us that. But right now, it is just straight up no neutral commanders.
I think just to simplify what I'm trying to say is like, it's kind of like going to watch a movie that isn't brand new in the theaters. Like, you hear from your friends that it's amazing, and they basically give you teasers and little snippets and maybe a preview article that's perfect because it gives you a date and hypes you up. And then you go watch it, and it's not it's not exactly what you were dreaming of. You expect the movie to be 5 stars or whatever they rate stuff now, 10
And
stars.
honestly, it's not even like it could be a good movie, but if it's not what you were
Exactly.
geared up to
That's my
see-
point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that was like part of them trying to set a mysterious tone to their article, like, ooh, something's gonna be changing. And to be fair,
Yeah.
like, it got us talking. You should have seen how
Oh,
much
for sure.
the Discords popped off the second that article dropped. I think it was like 9 a.m. our time, and like all of us, like it was the first message I read, and it was the only thing I talked about that day. You know,
100%.
like I get why they did it. So that's just the hype machine doing its thing. Yeah.
I have it up right now for the actual wording. The theme, the preview of the Champion of the Faith and the Cranningman and Devon and stuff also like encouraged massive hype.
Oh
or
yeah,
what
when
we
they were
were-
like, "Oh, this unit's going to be attached to this, and this is going to cost one less if it's with this," and that was really cool.
Yeah. And they just said in broad wording again. It lets you daydream a little bit when they use broad, sneak peek wording type stuff, and it's like, oh man, and then it gets your brain hyped up for a movie that's not as good as it really is, even though it is a solid movie. So, anyways, that's my overall like. I think that's what happened to a lot, including myself, to a lot of people of like what they were thinking was coming, even though they never specifically said, did not exactly come. But even though the patch is great, it's good. It's just not that amazing. Gosh, what's like the best movie of all time? It's not that Godfather movie that they wanted or
The
whatever.
Princess Bride is the best movie of all time, but
There we go. It's not a Princess Bride patch. It's still good. It's still a good movie.
it's like a
Departed. Yeah,
Star Wars
it's still
Episode
Departed.
1.
Yeah,
It's
it's just
good.
not.
It's a classic, but yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So
So
what's
I
next?
think we faffed around a lot. So let's start to, I guess, the quote unquote main topic, and we're what, like 40 minutes into our recording at this point.
Yeah, we've been
We've been
digressing for
loving
sure.
talking about all this stuff. It's really interesting, and like the game just gives you so much to talk about. Even if it's like a small game, there's just so much to sink your teeth into when a single rule gets changed. So we figured that we'd highlight. We could go line by line on the patch, but most of the time you're gonna read that something changed, and it's gonna be pretty clear that it was better or worse. But we figured we'd mention like the best things we saw, and also some of the things that maybe weren't that exciting. We're not super keen, maybe even a little leery of.
Hmm.
So like especially, and I definitely want to focus on. It's not that this patch is good. I think this patch is good, and I can't wait to try
I
all this
agree.
stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, why don't you kick things off with what's something that is exciting to you? What are you really happy to see and you want to build around?
Okay, I will happily kick things off. I do want to mention though that we should timestamp this in our lives and
Oh, it'll be
revisit
time
it
stamped.
in like 6 weeks or something because I think these things are going to change, right? They like always do when you look at something from first reaction, first glance, and then down the rabbit hole after playing games and a couple tournaments, and then you're like, okay, this isn't as good as I thought it was going to be. Like a clear example, I just want to point out real quick because I did not realize this is the Umber Berserkers when they came out from their most recent patch looked so amazing. Like,
Yeah.
holy crap, good. They are currently the worst ELO combat unit on stats. They're the
It's
worst
funny
Stark
'cause
unit.
they don't look bad on paper. Like that's the
No,
one that swings 7, 8, 9, right?
yeah, and they
And
get
they,
+1 defense and morale when they lose ranks. Like,
you know what I
it
think it
looks so
is?
it looks so great. It
I
looks so
think
great.
it's because they just get blown up. Because at beginning they're what, like a 4-5, what's it, 4-6 unit,
Yeah,
something
I
like
don't.
that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the reason. It was just a perfect example of like when they first got leaked of their patch, whenever that was. Everybody's like, "Holy crap, Zerkers are too good."
And we're not
you
even
know.
going to talk about what the community predictions were for Brotherhood, right?
Oh boy, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember
Brotherhood.
everybody being like, I don't know. I don't know. It'll be interesting, but
Oh
can they
really?
do stuff?
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought the community predicted pretty effectively what they are right now. But
I definitely saw a lot of people saying that I don't know, they don't do damage, so how are they going to win? And forgetting that movement's
oh
what wins the games.
yeah, the free march, right? All right.
Free
Okay, so
everything.
my first free everything. All right, so my first excited, positive, awesome. There's so much to be positive about, by the way, but just one of my highlights is just the overall lowered cost of tons of characters. Yay! People are gonna play Jamie Lannister now.
Oh
I'm
my god.
excited.
Yeah, and I put this as one of my top things too, and it was like that so many units, especially NCUs, just got point chops like 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 3-2. This it was like almost across the board. Blood Riders, every Blood Rider is now 1 point, and I cannot wait to make an Oops All Horse list again after kind of shelving that for a little while, where it's just a Sentinel, a Fueled by Slaughter, the Intimidating Presence, all this other stuff coming out. I
Yeah, I'm
know
not too I'm not too excited to face against that.
I'm
Honestly,
excited to
the
roll it, so
the inability to make you weekend is it's going to be frustrating for
Oh
sure.
yeah, but that's the thing is it's everybody seems to be getting more stuff. I don't think a lot of units or a lot of factions just net lost things. In fact, the only one that I
Oh,
can think of is maybe the Brotherhood. Didn't gain
well,
anything, and they just had their two
well,
changes. But that's yeah,
well, I think outside of the neutral commanders disappearing, right?
well, yeah. I guess
So
yeah. We got to put a blanket
yeah,
statement on that one. I guess
because that hurts some more than others, and as a Bolton player, I am sad,
yeah.
um, but that's okay. We're not. So outside of that, yeah, it's
Outside of
it's
that,
basically it's basically people got cheaper stuff or slightly changed stuff sometimes. I know some abilities changed, ambush, the free
Amber's got
attack stuff,
buffed.
and
Oof. Yeah,
yeah.
but the
So
the
some characters got
all the
stronger.
decreases are just like almost just straight buffs for
Yeah.
pretty much everything. Like Baratheons, all their Rainbow Guard are now 1 point. I don't know. I think most of them were already, but like you can take uh, a lot of different honor guard units cheaper if they're in a faction. It's just like a lot of stuff is 1 point now, and it's so easy to slot these guys in, especially with the 4 point. Honestly, it'd be easy to slot them in even if we didn't have the 4 spare points.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And you wanted to call
I
out
was
one
I was trying
specific
to say,
change to a certain Lannister.
oh no, oh just Jamie. Yeah, I'm happy that Jamie's gonna be played. I like the combination. So like, here's an example of them actually delivering on the preview. So this is kind of like, I think a lot of us wanted a lot more of this, which is Jamie Lannister Kingsguard is 2 points, two good abilities. I'm not a fan of a single die roll myself, but anyways, wait, is it still the same? Yeah, it is. And then thematically, if Cersei's in your army, reduce Jamie by 1. So now you have a strong attachment for cheap and thematically so. So I like that a lot. I like how they had the idea of like the champion of the face stuff and the Krennic stuff. Like, I just wanted more of that, I guess, and more.
Thematic
Which
and
I'll just the way I did my top 5 and bottom 5 was they're tied to each other. So I'll just tie this to my first note of not so happy that they didn't do this more, and I wanted to see more like Stormcrow lieutenants being ignoring limits of restrictions. I wanted to see the Bolton flayers and captains not ignore restrictions on attachments too.
yeah,
Like,
definitely some of those lieutenants and stuff. If like maybe if there was a character in there, like a named character, they can ignore. I think that would have been a good compromise. That way, you're not like, I don't know, stacking every unit has in Free Folk a raid leader and a champion of bone, or a
yeah.
walrus and a yeah. So I could see that as being a middle ground
So
compromise.
yeah, so for me, it's just really weird that they did Champion, the Cranog, and I think one or two other ones, like these generic attachments, which we don't want to see a lot of. We want the characters, but in a thematic list, they're perfect. They're great. So it's weird to me that they gave you one for free on top of all these points, and ignored the limit, one
Attachment limit.
attachment per unit.
Mm-hmm.
So I just would have liked to see those things just ignore the restrictions. Like, not extra free points, just you can bring these along with the High Sparrow, or you can bring Cranog with Howland Reed. They ignore and if you do, they ignore the limits. Like, if you don't bring Howland Reed, a Cranigman survivalist should not ignore attachment restrictions, right?
Basically,
Like,
try
that's
to
what I'm
make a
trying.
very thematic and unified.
That's what I'm trying to
list.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
like you shouldn't have Great John and then 4 Krennog survivalists, because they ignore army. That's what people are making right now. like because they ignore the restrictions. So it's so easy to fill up those 4 points of free attachments with these guys.
Yeah,
Like,
and some armies
and I
definitely
want
did get an easier job of doing it.
yeah. So I just think they missed it a little bit.
I know.
They missed the mark a little bit, even though I'm so happy with all the new characters
Yeah.
being cheaper and available. But like, they really could have just spent like one more day just going through and being like, okay, these guys should ignore restrictions. These guys should ignore restrictions if you bring this commander. And then like, I just wanted to
That could
see
help.
more of
Yeah.
it.
And I
Yeah,
think I think that
and I don't think
that's yeah.
there shouldn't be extra free points. Like, but anyways,
I think that with the list building, and we mentioned it earlier, it's definitely like sometimes a challenge to fit all 4 free points. And with points being so granular, you really don't want to leave anything on the table. I mean, like 1 point is a lot in comparison. Like it's what almost it's over 2% of your army. Just if you take 43 points instead of 44. So it really starts
yeah.
to, add up if you can't fit everything. So I do
Oh
agree
yeah,
with you on that. It would be nice if you could break attachment limit a little bit more often.
I don't know if what they were thinking was, oh, nobody will care if they just run 43 or 42 points. Yes, we care. Like we're
I
going to
should
try to maximize every single point available to us.
When
Like,
I see people running in like 40k armies, they'll bend over backwards to go from 900 or 1990 points to 2000 points just so they don't
yeah,
leave that 10 points on the table. So I could definitely see like the desire to want to fit a whole point in a 44 point list into that. But yeah, that's definitely
yeah. I think people might just need to start trying to break out of that habit and be okay with 43 or 42.
I mean,
And
we'll have to see.
we'll
Is
see.
it worth it?
Yeah.
Sometimes if you can't reasonably break units into smaller units that could fit more attachments, it might just you have to run a 42 point army, 43
Yeah,
point army.
yeah. We'll see what happens. But
I
anyways, so my top favorite and not so favorite thing are very tied together. I love the new characters. I just wish they would have done a little bit more of the ignoring attachment restrictions with the generics I wish they would have left out the extra free point for them. So that's my first one. What's your first one?
well, you kind of covered the attachments going down. The Blood Riders, I'm super hyped for. All these 1 point attachments now. One of the other ones, and I'll call it very specifically, is Mag got quite a change, where because
Yeah.
Giants traditionally don't run a lot of infantry. In fact, Mag's deck just like ignores them. He gets a 1 point reduction from his already reduced commander cost of 5 for each attachment point you don't use. So if you're not using any of your 4 points, Mag literally costs 1 point to be your commander, which is bonkers. Like when you say that, like yes, you're leaving 4 points on the table, like we were talking about, but a 1 point commander, like it's so easy to build an 8 activation all giant list, like literally not a single infantryman.
Yeah. Um, that's pretty great. I know that's like a fan favorite type of list to build for free folk players.
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen it really take down whole events, but
maybe now we
I
will.
know. Yeah. Well, I think the one that does is like a Varamir. It's a Varamir commander with mag is the
Oh, I
one
don't
that's
even
really
want to.
good.
Yeah, I'm sure
Um,
Varamir in anything, and I'm honestly I can't
yeah,
wait to
yeah.
see people run Mag, and then Varamir to eat 3 activations, and then the rest of the Giants.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's gonna be insane. You're gonna have like these 10 activation giant lists or something running around, and I don't know. I'm kind of here for it because, to be honest, like I like when there's like a weird, different army, and it's not everybody has. Here's my 7 point commander bunker. Here's my ranged unit. Here's my
Yeah.
cavalry, and here's my point sitter. All right, and here's my
100%.
3 NCUs. Like it's cool that they're doing this weird giant list.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for anything but humans on the battlefield, so I love it,
Yeah.
and I can't wait to see more of it. And in fact, I'm very close to pulling the trigger on a free folk army myself. So
Well, I can't wait to
um,
see some of the games you guys play.
I do want to play a couple of Bolton games just to see, just to see. At least I mean I'll always have them. I got my free hugs Bolton army, so they'll always be here to play. But I'm kind of getting a little itch, a little excitement for free folk. I've always
Free folk
wanted
look
the
cool, and I kind of
yeah.
want to skip around a little bit and do my next also excited thing, which
Yeah,
is
please do.
the to entice you further is Rattleshirt's rework, both honestly on his commander and his attachment. The
Yeah.
commander, his cards got reworked and they look awesome now. They attach on any unit in short range if your opponent lost a wound to an attack instead of like you have to rank them. It's like not
Yeah.
there's no order triggers. He gets the buffs for all the you've got to read the cards. They're insane. But he looks
Okay,
like such a
but you
fun
know how they
guy.
were before, so the cards do look great. But from someone that hasn't played him or against him, like almost well in a long time.
Yeah.
Can you highlight? Do you remember? Like, can you highlight the changes? Like,
Ooh, so
why are they?
I know the old
Are they
ones. It would be after you complete an attack that ranks your opponent. It's kind
okay?
of like it was kind of like a pillage type mechanic. You get to play the
Gotcha.
card onto onto the unit that did the damage, and
Yeah.
then Rattleshirt had an order that you could then search your deck for another card and attach it to Rattleshirt's unit.
Ah.
So Rattleshirt
Okay.
ended up being this big murder ball with 3 cards attached to him that
Okay.
you would just kill and like he would be removed. Now you are incentivized to put all the cards on different units in your army and not even the one that just made the attack. So for instance, there's the weapon charm gives +1 to hit on for the unit that's holding it. So you can say charge in with a raider with raid leader, do a wound of damage, which is all you need, and then put the weapon charm on, I don't know, let's say Fen Warriors, Champions of Bone, and then charge them in next. They have +1 to hit, so they're hitting on 2s now. And
Yay.
like that's kind of ridiculous for a free folk unit.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's a lot of wacky stuff that he's going to be able to do, and I'm super
Uh-huh.
here for it.
Yeah, and he's basically Ramsey for free folk on his attachment version.
Oh yeah, no, and
Right.
his attachment's cool because it used to have spread fear as the order, which is like cool, but his honor guard is honestly like the cool synergy piece, right? Because his honor guard, I'm gonna pull it up so I don't misspeak, but they basically have horrific visage. They have prey on fear, and now he has fueled
boy.
by slaughter as his attachment. So they fail a panic, they take some wounds, and you're healing like 3,
Yeah.
4, 5 off of every attack, and they're glass cannons, so you need the healing. But
Gotcha.
that looks like such a fun unit to charge in with.
Awesome. So, and Rattleshirt is like another one of those like thematic, lore heavy, just like fan favorite type of characters and lists that people want to use on the table. So that's really good news. So,
You know,
also, I think Walrus Chieftain got a little buff. Is that correct?
so the chieftains got cheaper. I'll pull up the unit.
Oh my gosh! 1 point for Harden and Iron Resolve.
Exactly. They're great. It's gonna be. I have a feeling you're gonna be taking so many 4 and 5 point units in this list just to spread out all of your different 1 point attachments. It's gonna be crazy. Like Fen Warriors with a Walrus Clan Chieftain. Yeah, they don't have the resilience anymore, but Hardened is good if you're getting attacked more than once.
Okay, it looks like he got a new Walrus Strength card. That's what it is. Okay.
Yeah, the Walrus Strength also got changed. The Free Folk got like a lot of really good changes. I definitely, if you're a Free Folk fan, there's a lot to love in this patch, and I'm super happy for you guys. So
Yeah. Oh, are you not a Free Folk player?
I started with Free Folk probably back when season 2020 or 2021 rolled out, like a long time ago now. 2020, 2021. And I kind of shelved them after Mance started really dominating. And I'm like, you know what? If this is the direction they want to put this army, I'm going to go and play something sillier. And I played infantry-based Targaryens. So not even the good half of the army. I've since swapped over, but
Yeah.
that's just kind of how my mind worked. But I'm super
So
interested. I might go grab them from my storage and start breaking them out again.
yeah, so real quick, do you know? Take a look at mammoths, guys, because it looks like they changed. They got more dice and rampage changed somehow. They got a reroll on the charge now or something like that. So you might be excited to play some mammoths too. I don't know, but
I know a lot of people are super hyped for mammoths, and I've been
that's
a
cool.
mammoth fan. Yeah, dude, like the army is awesome. It's if you like
Yeah,
non-traditional like armies where you're playing weird stuff, Free Folk are
yeah,
your dudes. Just
yeah,
one note is Craster does not work very good with mammoths or giants.
yeah, yeah,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
he was a little too good with
Okay,
them before.
yeah, okay. So cool. So those are two awesome highlights for you. What are a couple of your not so great items?
Well, I guess one of the things is they made some changes for Mag to work better with the commander or the attachment restriction, like the fact that he can't really run attachments. Well, another army that likes to run monsters that don't have attachments is the Targaryens. I'm going to go back to them and say, dragons are awesome, but if you're running 2 or 3 dragons, there's not a lot of places to put your attachments. In fact, I don't even think you're physically able to build a list that
Yeah,
has all 4 points of attachments used.
yeah.
So, I
Well,
wish they got a little tweak. I understand that dragons teeter on this edge of like decent to like really, really good. So
yeah.
I'm not surprised they didn't get changed, but it's kind of a little disappointing that like they got no love for that type of change.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like a proxy nerf to Mother of Dragons, kind of. Right?
Yeah,
It's
and
not
Mother did
not a
kind of
direct
need it.
nerf, but it's like if you choose to go the Mother route and try to do 3 dragons, you're not gonna get the maximum free points. So I guess for now it's kind of like we'll see, but I totally understand it's not like maybe they could have done something there.
Yeah, no, that was definitely the big one. And then I kind of I got up on my soapbox about it earlier, but definitely like the Jokin not being able to be in Stormcrows, just a blanket neutral change was kind of like I
Yeah.
wish they maybe put a little bit more thought into who could be played with what. I know some factions like not heavily, but like decent amount of their commanders and even viable commanders were neutral. So it's going to be a big a big shakeup on what units or which commanders are run and can be run.
Yeah, it is interesting to note like there were some obviously there were some card changes, but like it feels like the factions all didn't get the same amount of like looks or love.
No, it seems to be most of them. It was just here's your um,
Yeah.
assault
So
orders change.
Free Fall got a little love, and it's just interesting, I guess. Like they got some, which is basically directly commander love, right? So it's kind of like that's not fair, Like how come they got a little commander love and pretty much no one else did? But
I think the
uh,
Rattle Shirts one is because Rattle Shirts had just changed like a patch or two ago, and I think they were like, "This is too confusing for people. Nobody wants to play him. Let's swap him out
but
again
like
while it's fresh."
okay, okay,
But I wish
but
other
like
factions got that same
but
treatment.
that yeah, I think that's what I was gonna say. Is that trigger is exactly what Boltons need for their cards. The instead of ranking, they just need to kill a wound, right? And then Boltons all of a sudden become viable with their cards that require that. Like
Yeah,
that would be nice. That would be nice. But they didn't. They didn't even do. They changed a couple Bolton cards, but they didn't do that. It's just kind of weird. So that's just I don't know why.
they.
Like
Yeah, I know that they've called Bolton's the mini faction that and they're not and Brotherhood, and like they're not really like that focused on making sure they're like balanced and getting proper updates and stuff. But it is kind of like they feel
uh,
hung out to dry.
yeah.
One
I
cool
mean,
thing
they
is the
got some
Blackguards
love.
got
They
the
got some
increased
love.
speed.
There are there's positives for Boltons. Don't get me wrong.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm super
Um,
hyped about the Blackguard because I
yeah.
might put Danny back in Blackguards again.
Okay. Yeah.
Speed
Oh,
4 was
Berserker
such a
Tactics.
killer.
I forgot about Berserker Tactics. So I guess one other commander got looked at this patch. So there you go.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
so
So what else?
those are
We
kind of
have
mine. Yeah, why don't you do another fun? Give
let's
us some
yeah,
love.
let's
What's something you
let's roll
like?
into some love here. And hey, we just mentioned it. Blackguard and Flameman buffs. I've been focusing on Boltons recently. I've been doing pretty good with them, which has surprised me. I was expecting to lose a lot of elo, and I've gone like let's see here, 4 or 5 and 2 so far with them.
Okay.
Um, I never got to Dario and Vargo. I had some fun ideas for lists with them, and
You
I'm
think there's going to
not
be
really.
legacy badges on stats now?
Yeah, I think there is. But I still want to play those lists and maybe get that badge. But anyways, I decided not to focus on trying to get those games in and do other things. So we'll see. But I'm not really motivated at the moment to play those. I am motivated to play them, period, because of this patch. Because of Blackguard and Flamin' buffs, the card buffs, the Dreadfort prisoners. I just want to see. I just want to see it for myself. I'm not super impressed just by the first take from reading, like on paper. But I can I can see potential, and I wanna get them on the table. So in that sense, it's a success, right? I want to play with them
Yeah,
and
it's
see
super
if
successful whenever you want to do something now because of a change. So
yeah, it's just
I think the Blackguard and honestly the Flayed Men buff's not bad either. I know it really sucks going from 6 dice down to 4 dice when you get ranked or somebody plays a card that puts you down at the last rank or whatever. But
Mhm.
losing 1 dice, it's like practically not even worth applying that effect. And with crit
yeah,
blow, you need every dice you can.
yeah.
So
Um, Yeah, so Bolton buffs in general, I'm very happy about those 2 units. I'm very happy about.
you'll take anything you can
Um,
get.
yeah, yeah. I can be more specific about what I wish would have happened, but there's no point. I just want to say that I'm very happy and positive about what we did get. I mean, they pretty much nailed exactly like the items that were on my list. Besides, I was hoping we can get Stark and Lannister units,
That would have
but
been cool. I know a lot of people were talking about that.
that would have been so cool.
Oh, that would have
Especially
been
some
cool.
red cloaks. Come on.
Oh my god.
Um,
Yeah, some combos would be a little crazy. Castle Rock Honor Guard just kind of carrying your faction.
yeah, they're probably like, we can't unleash this box with this patch.
No, but I think a
Um,
lot of the changes. I mean, most of the changes for Boltons were just straight up positive, and I think that's
yeah,
like Bloody Beheadings. Honestly, looks like a really good card too at first blush. Maybe I'm reading it wrong,
yeah,
but
yeah. Well, it's just okay. I guess I'll mention it. The cards are better, hands down, but what they didn't fix the core issues of the cards,
the enemy
was
rank.
what I was, which is the trigger, the rank, and also for sadistic games, it is still possible, especially with the new buffs to Boltons and prisoners and stuff, that the card is useless, right? Because they took away an option. I don't see why they didn't just add an option. And also,
What option did they take away?
the hits. So
Oh,
it used to be panic. It used to be panic tokens or hits, direct hits,
okay.
and they replaced the hits with weakened tokens. And it's like, why couldn't you just add weakened tokens? Like, I don't know. It's just, anyways, it's just that
2 steps forward,
I
one
guess
backwards.
I guess because it would be a worse card because they could just pick hits. The point is, having your opponent choose the option, right? Can
That one
create a
does feel little
situation.
bad, yeah.
Can create a situation where the card is useless. It's much better now, though. Like I said, I got to play it, but I was to the point what I was really hoping for is that I was hoping that card would be our one source of token removal, and one of the choices would be for us to remove tokens. We do not have any token removal in Boltons, and I think,
On
I
top
don't
of
think
being a
that's
mini faction, that's your critical weakness, along with being
yeah,
slow and along with not doing a lot of damage on a
yeah. I
lot
just
of
think
stuff.
like
There's
I
a
think
lot
just
of
think
weaknesses.
it's not talked about or focused on very much, like how crazy tokens are in this game now, and like
Oh
being
yeah.
able to remove a token of choice, especially in some very strong factions that can do it at the top of their turn or right before they attack, aka getting rid of weakened, and now you have the targs that don't get weakened at all. More, or they're going to be more frequently used, the not getting weakened.
Yeah,
So
I'm
like
imagining
for
you
to
playing
have
statistics games against me, and I've got like 3 Blood Riders out, and I go ahead and weaken my units.
yeah
Go for it.
yeah. So the Boltons having zero, and I mean zero token removal besides the bag zone is is I think an oversight. So that's what I wish would have happened with sadistic games is the option to remove tokens or put more down. But anyways, I
We
think
sh-
the
we
buffs are
we
great.
should have a
So,
discussion about rerolls and tokens at some point because I believe that there are too many rerolls in this game, and
oh really?
yeah, they increase the consistency of everything, and I know that a lot of people like consistency in their games, but it also makes it less of a game and more of like chess. I don't know, like it leans it towards that one side, and I kind of like the game of chance. Weighing your odds,
Ah.
and you're removing the
That
odds.
is extremely subjective because I am on the other side, my friend. I
That's
would
fair.
love to play. I would love to play this game where the dice, where you don't even roll and you just get the hits that are average. Like, anyways,
Okay, I feel like
that's
that's
like,
that's literally two different extremes.
yeah, it is, and I think it would be a fun game. Still, you just don't roll the dice. You just go, okay, 7 dice on threes. That's X amount of hits, and then what's your block? Okay, that's X amount of blocks, and then you just do that. You don't even roll.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, listen, I know from the little talks I've had about this, I know that I'm not in the majority. I am very much a vocal like minority there, but I will say that I think they can be much more liberal with their +1 to hits or their block and additional dice or something like that over
Yeah.
here's a whole boat rerolls, go enjoy. Mostly because honestly they overlap too much.
Hmm.
Like how many times are you like, well, I already have the rerolls, so I might as well go do X
Yeah.
minor thing.
Yeah. I think the rolling is just part of the fun. So
Oh yeah,
even
no,
though
rolling is fun.
I'd like that other part of the I would like that other version of the game. I really enjoy this game with the rolls. Don't get me wrong.
The dice tell the stories. That was what I was told in one of my first games. Is dice tell the story.
So I'm gonna lead into my next one.
Go for it.
So where is my next one?
All the way down.
Oh, I guess I already did. So I started with those two cards. Like even though there's a bunch of beautiful buffs and I love the changes to Boltons, like those two cards didn't really address the core issues, and then no token removal. And the big one I was hoping for, I was super verbal with this everywhere, Facebook and Discord, because I guess they watch. I don't know, like I don't know who to email, but I can't believe there's not a faction specific Roos NCU that's like as strong and powerful as Tywin and Balon and Eddard. Like you got some heavy hitting character
Miri.
NCUs, the ones. Well, Danny unburnt, right? Like,
Yeah,
I
no, I
mean,
agree. Yeah, no, definitely. I see what you're saying. Like, you don't have that
you
bomb
know,
NCU
Doran.
that.
You got
Yeah,
Doran. You got all these. You got the Queen of Thorns. You have these. You got these major characters for their houses, NCU versions that are strong, and then you got you. Then you got Roos, which anyone can take the same version of him. Like it's just weird, and and it's like, why is there not a 6 point,
Mega
like Roos
Ruse.
NCU that just that you know
Excuse me.
like something along the lines of like your opponent's hand limit is lowered, or something like that, and you can just pull out a Flameman Has No Secrets when you want, like Tyrion,
Mm-hmm.
like that, like something like that. Like I don't know, it's not hard. They can do the bouncing part. I'm just saying, like that's what I was hoping for. So I'm a little sad about that.
I can see that, and honestly, I do think it's kind of funny that like there's literally no benefit to having in faction Boltons outside of just using the commander deck.
Yeah.
And now I guess
Oh
they
no
do
no
have the
no no.
one
Boltons
we
are
got the
better in
roll.
neutrals. Boltons are better in neutrals for sure.
Okay.
Maybe not anymore. Maybe not anymore with the new Bolton stuff. Like I said, I really want to try it out and play it. But before this patch, Boltons were better in neutrals, 100%.
Yeah, you'd run neutrals with Boltons in them. And
Yeah,
now maybe because you did get the Dreadfort Prisoners rule, which
yeah.
I
The cards
can't
are a little
find.
better.
Yeah, the cards got a little bit better. Maybe it's worth it now, but it was kind of funny that it was just like there's no reason. Just play joking in the
Yeah,
just have fun.
and it's super funny that the two best commanders I wanted to use Tybalt with, I can't use now, as he utilizes the old. He utilizes Dario's options pretty well. Even though MB motivated by coin changed, but and then he also utilizes Vargo's free attack start a round card pretty well. So those are gone. So now Tybalt. I mean, Tybalt's still good. Don't get me wrong. I think people underestimate Tybalt.
Okay.
But anywho,
What does he do,
getting
just
both.
for reference? Because I actually don't know off the top of my head.
Oh, Tybalt's the one that needed change right away because he was apparently too strong. He calls out a zone when your enemy activates an NCU, and if your enemy takes that zone, then you get to put a vulnerable token on a unit. That's it. But if they do not take that zone, this is where you call out like the crown zone or something that no one takes. Then Tybalt gets to activate and take that zone on their turn, on your enemy turn. So you take the advantage of you take the lead on the tactics board when it's not your first go. Like you get to control the tactics board better. And so the problem with it is at first was Tybalt would take swords, then do it, and then leave swords, and then open up swords for you to take again. Love Tybalt, and this is how they use them. And then they're like, no, he can't do it while he's on the board already. And so everybody's like, damn it, like Tybalt sucks now. But he's actually, I think the strength of locking out the tactics board early is underutilized. You know, it's always been a thing, 3 NCU versus 2 NCU, and or 3 NCUs, 3 NCU versus 3 NCU. Yeah. Thank you. Locking out that extra turn. And Tybalt allows you to do that. The problem is there's 0 replace zone effects, in the deck and stuff like that, except for Dario's card. So now you can't use it. So you pretty much like calling out crowns. I mean, everything that I've been looking at and playing with Bolton so far, just kind of focal points together into the whole like spread fear mechanic.
Yeah.
And so that goes back to the whole like one of my points I wish would have happened that didn't is having the Bolton Flare be ignoring restrictions for attachments.
Yeah, definitely, because he
we
feels really
we
cheap.
need spread fear everywhere to make stuff work. So I guess we'll see if Bloody Beheadings replaces that enough for us. But
Yeah, I
but
hope
yeah,
so.
kind of relating the awesome thing that I did like, which was the Flayed Men buff. I've coming full circle.
There's always a good and a bad. Yeah, no, I definitely. I feel like sometimes it was definitely. We changed some stuff. We'll see if it worked. If not, we'll change some more. But for right now, here's here's your toy.
I guess we take a moment.
Some very nice toys, but not in every faction.
Speaking of lowest dice,
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to relate the Flaveman to. Is their lowest dice got buffed? Yeah, I guess we take a moment to talk about assault orders.
Yeah, I guess we really should talk about assault orders
the community is ablaze with this change. At least what I've seen.
And there was also the change to motivated by coin that I think we should call out too while we're at this, because, and this is one of
Yeah,
my things that I'm super happy about, is they
and the
changed.
Kevin one too.
And
Yeah,
look at that, even more. I'm even more happy. They're cutting back on the amount of extra attacks that a lot of different factions, and some more than others, had access to. Assault orders, although it still does give you an extra attack, is now your lowest attack dice.
yeah,
Which for some units that's like 4 dice, and I'm not gonna say it's ignorable, but it's a lot better than 7 dice with the crit blows and the this and the that. Because once you start adding keywords, every dice matters more and more and more.
yeah,
And then motivated by coin basically got changed that you can't replace the bag zone anymore. I believe now if your opponent doesn't control the bags, let me just check. Yeah, if they do not control the bags, when you are performing a melee attack, the Stormcrow mercenaries, or whoever it is, I'm just reading off their card right now, can re-roll their attack dice, and when they activate, they restore a wound. Which is
yep,
cool, but it's not an extra attack. And that's kind of the scary thing, because man, was it frustrating to deal with a unit, and you just saw it, especially a ranged unit that got motivated by coin. Thank you, Braun. Where they would just be ripping shots or hitting attacks on you, attack after attack after attack. So you just couldn't engage them if that unit wasn't already tapped. And even if
yeah.
it was, it could still go. So it was super
I
frustrating.
I was surprised with these changes, and I think my reaction is I'm happily surprised, very happy. Um, but what I thought was going to happen was a slow trot back towards how the game like felt when it came out,
Yeah.
which was thematic first of all, and they've been doing that. But also just more explosive. Like when you say it felt like chess, I loved that about the old school style. The game was if you mess up, if you forget an opponent has a card or position poorly, your unit's getting blown up off the table. Like it felt very chess-like in that sense, and positioning was very key to that. So it wasn't just, it wasn't just go in and blow stuff up. It was like you can position your way out of it or whatever. But I really love that very dynamic play. Strong cards, strong units, and so that's what I thought was going to happen. And with this change, it took me for a surprise. But I actually like it a lot because along with the move back towards the dynamic play, I was hoping the game would just like be a standard 50 points instead of 40 now. That way the game kind of feels the same, where as far as like how long a game takes and like, being able to get back into a game when you lose a unit and stuff like that. But you still have dynamic play. So that's what I was thinking was going to happen, but now it's not 50 points, but they didn't just buff everything with these attachments and have a bunch of nukes on the board. They actually kept the
The unit's a
gosh.
little bit less killy.
Yeah. So they
Yeah,
pretty much balanced what these Death Stars are that could possibly happen with less free attacks and just free attacks period. And I like how they did it. They didn't just remove them. I mean, they removed NBC, which I like their idea with it. It wasn't implemented fully in my opinion. That's one of my negative points.
one of
But
your gripes.
one of my gripes. But I like that there's like basically this like fear of the tactics board throughout an
Yeah.
entire round, and it always sucked. And
Yeah, it
was
felt weird
really
taking the bags like second or third activation, even though your units weren't like in a danger zone and it didn't buff you up a rank, just so your opponent didn't get 3 shots on their archers. And that
right.
was
And
yeah. So that was
like you put
I want to kind of reiterate what you said almost, where it was such a good heads up play, because they're making a lot of these attachments cheaper, and they didn't make units worse to make the attachments cheaper. They just made basically easier time murder balling these units by making this 1 point attachment that can go in it, and this ignores attachment limits, like we've been saying. Even though not everything got it, enough did, that if they didn't do this, there would be a real concern that things would just plow through entire armies with extra attacks left and right.
Yeah. We still might see that.
Oh, we might, but it was a heads-up play to like know that was going to be an issue and curtail it. And I guess that kind of leads into one of the things we kind of both had on our lists, which is they didn't cut all of the extra attacks.
There's a faction there's a faction in specific that I've been griping about for a year now, and I get to gripe some more, and that is the Greyjoys.
Go ahead, stand up. Here's my soapbox. I'm handing it to you.
Attention, everyone! The Greyjoys are unfair. No, I'm just playing. I hope Mitchell gets a good laugh of that, a buddy here in our local group that is a very strong player with whatever he plays. Like, it's not because of the faction, but you know. There are strong pieces in the game, and then there are strong players, and when you combine them, it is scary stuff.
Yes.
So when you combine a really talented and skillful player, like I have in my local scene, I have quite a few actually. I'm very blessed in that regard. With stuff like nerfing all the free attacks except we do not sow, and then Balon just getting a 1 point increase when 4 points are now free. It just feels like nothing changed with that in that regard, and in fact is now a little stronger because no one else has it. So, boo, boo to Greyjoys. That's all.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, listen, I think you like what you like in a game, and you dislike what you dislike in a game. So I'm not gonna try to yuck anybody's yum on anything like that. I do think the Greyjoys have it all right now. They still have a very good extra attack card, like basically 2 or 3 different extra attack cards in their deck, depending on which commander they're running.
Oh, yeah. Commanders, yeah.
Yeah, because, Assault Order still does give an extra attack, and when you're making 3 attacks with Vicious and all this other stuff, you can start to really lay in damage.
On top of that, how did Berserker Tactics get changed and not Black Tide Resentment? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, and personally, we'll see how everything shakes out. They already were a faction that didn't have cavalry, so they're not trying to fit awkward cavalry attachments into their list. They already were kind of running a lot of cheaper units, so there was a lot of places to put attachments already. And they have really good attachments, and some got buffed.
They got even better.
Yeah. Drown Prophet, although it got Go Down Fighting removed, oh no, it's now only 1 point. That's pretty insane. Yeah,
they have attrition, they have healing, they have insane prolonged attack power starting and finishing games, and they have full unit respawning.
Yeah, I was gonna definitely point that one out in specific. I hate Balon. I'll say it. I think that he's very polarizing. The good players know what to do, and they play around it, and it's just a wasted now 6 points. A bad player will play into Balon, and the opponent will put it right there behind him and chew through the unit that just killed the resurrected target, and they feel like they just got cheated out of a game, and there's no fun to be had there. So there's no middle ground where it's kind of a counterplay and kind of not. It just feels like it's either the Greyjoy player used it and won, or didn't use it and lost.
Yeah, I actually just did a bat rep on two of our top players here fighting on the top table on this Fresno event. Greyjoys versus Night's Watch, and it was a great match. And I mentioned in that video that there was a moment where I was like, oh, here's that moment where you're sitting there and you're like, okay, Greyjoy unit's down to 1 health. Perfect time. I got a 2-up charge. Like this is no brainer what you do. And then you stop and go, wait a second. If I kill this unit, Balon's it actually strengthens Balon's power because even though a 5-point unit is currently dead and Balon's already ready to go, I'm about to kill an 8-point unit, and now Balon's stronger, and this unit hasn't activated yet. And here's what's worse: if I choose not to, because I don't want that to happen, I don't want that Balon thing to be extra powerful. He's gonna heal up 8 8 wounds in the next turn or whatever, and then I miss my chance. So, like Balon is ridiculous.
Yeah.
We'll see how the 1 point goes. I'm happy it was something. So,
it's definitely like I'm glad he got something, and he's kind of now in the realm of Eddard Stark, where he's very expensive. You still really want to take him, so you'll probably bend your lists to fit him, but he feels bad even more because now if you bring a 6-point NCU and your opponent plays around it well, you feel like the biggest idiot in the world.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
that's
it's
just
more it's more polarizing now. Yeah, because when it works, it works.
2 cents
Yeah,
on it.
and when it works, by the way, when it works now these extra free attachments are included in that unit that comes back.
Yep.
I mean, they were already using a good amount of attachments, but anyways. So
they got rid of Endless Horde because it was too frustrating. Like they changed it up and how it worked.
Yeah, they should have remembered why they should have took notes from that for sure.
Yeah, so that's just my I got up on the soapbox again. I'm back off of it. Oh,
that's okay. Relating to it's we're going back and forth with the good and the gripes and just to reiterate, the patch I think is overall great. The gripes are more of like being a little nitpicky, and also with the asterisk of we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in the next 6 weeks.
I hope I'm so wrong on some of these negatives. By the
way, yeah, same here. But one of the gripes that relates to the free attacks getting nerfed is the motivated by coin rework, and I love the idea. I love the extra healing for storm crows.
Yeah.
The rerolls and neutrals are I'm a neutral player and I like the idea of rerolls and healing, but they didn't finish the plan. It feels like Dario's card lets you control bags, right, for his improved armaments, and that's cool, I guess. But and I guess it synergizes with Hedge Knights, but his negotiations card could have just simply added also your opponent counts as not controlling the bags for the rest of the round. Boom, done, solved, and now he synergizes with the rework of the ability, and everybody's happy. But they just didn't do it.
Dervishes would be so cool with him then.
Yeah, I mean,
because they got the improved ambush, and they got the rework on the motivated.
Yeah, but it's up to your opponent to let that be a thing, right?
It's very true.
So it's you need something to synergize with it so that you have play, so that you have something so that you have agency with the synergy, right?
It's funny to me how well Stormcrows seem to synergize with the Martells. Because definitely the Water Gardens and then also the Nymeria poison or whatever. Go ahead and take the bags, please take the bags. Make my unit medium this round.
Yeah. So that's just a very small nitpicky gripe. I like the change, but I don't like how they didn't finish the thought. So that's a little sad. But back to something positive.
Well, there was one more thing I definitely want to touch on the things I'm super excited for, and that's specifically 2 different units in 2 different armies that I play. Going down from 6 points to 5 points. 6-point units are kind of like this hellhole of a unit where like they need to be slightly worse than a 7-point unit, otherwise you just take the 6. But they can't be too much better than a 5. Like it's just weird like middle ground they have to hug. And I'm so
Sure.
glad that both Dune Vipers and the Pit Fighters went down to 5
Oh,
points.
similar aesthetic units as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like yes, the Dune Vipers they lost their Counter Strike, but I think that almost like reinforces the type of role they were trying to do instead of
Yeah.
giving them like a little bit of everything. Now that unit's supposed to run in there, throw a weakened on the unit, and put the gang up down so that your other unit can charge in and do a ton of damage.
Hmm.
And I think that as a 5-point unit with a 4-up armor, throwing 7 dice on 4s, that's still like that's a pretty good 5-point unit. I'm gonna run that, especially with like good access to all of these cheap attachments now. You know, like imagine having the Dervish Captain in there, like the Disrupt, so Discord, like, just start to
Hmm.
really muck things up in the combat for the next unit. Them, fine, go ahead and attack my 5-point unit. While you're doing that, this other unit's going to chew through you.
Yep.
So I was super happy about that. And Pit Fighters going down to 5, it was weird that they tried to compete the Pit Fighters with Dothraki Screamers at the same point cost. Like, I just
Yeah.
don't see a world I ever would have taken the Pit Fighters.
Yeah.
But at 5 points, they're like, I'm probably gonna have a battle report at some point where I'm running 2 Pit Fighters, run right down the middle and charge at something, and just throw all the tokens on everything. Just they hit so hard now for their point cost.
Okay.
So I'm
Very
super
cool.
happy. And there's other factions that got similar like point costs, or like 1 point here or there, like really makes a faction and a unit.
Yeah.
So I'm super. Yorin went down from 6 to 5 in Night's Watch. I
Yeah.
know one of my one of the other bannermen, Sand, is super excited about that.
Hmm.
So it's just cool that like they took a couple units that's like nobody was taking at that point cost and brought them down.
Yep.
So
I think I
that was
think
awesome.
I think it's hilarious. Just I think we're pretty much. I have a couple funny things, but
Yeah, go for it.
uh, I think we've covered the top fives. Are we finished with that?
I think we're basically done with them. I think I can
Okay.
call out that, I wish that Brotherhood got a little bit more of a tap than they did. I think peasants are extremely efficient with what they do.
Hmm.
But that's kind of like I can nitpick about stuff forever. So
Yeah.
go ahead. What's some funny stuff? I want to hear it.
Well, like with the banner of the preview and everyone like I don't know, and then like at first when the app was updated and we weren't sure about certain things, like the rule book wasn't out. The Golden Company officer changed to 1 point, and everyone's like, "Yes, 2 elephants." And
Yeah,
then like a day later, they're like, "Actually, the Golden Company officer doesn't count towards those free attachment points." And everybody's like, "No!"
yeah,
I thought it was pretty funny.
yeah. No, that was
As
that.
a neutral
Some of them
player,
were.
I had an evil laugh at that moment. I was just like, "Yes, neutrals win the 2 elephant game once again."
Yeah, there is some attachments in the neutral faction that got love that like they're just never gonna see play now because you have to be so efficient if you're a neutral attachment because they don't count towards that 4 point and you're eating a slot for the free 4 points. So it's like
Yeah.
double reasons not to take it. Um, First off, rip in peace, Braun and Fortune Seeker. I don't think anybody's gonna ever take you anymore. Pour one out for those two. But like Brienne, Knightly Vow, I think is a lot better overall. It's not just when you control the swords now; it's whenever your opponent doesn't control the swords,
which
and
is I
about
don't
50% of the time.
know. It's about
It's
50%.
not like worlds better, but it's undoubtedly better. Start of the round, you charge, you still got +1 to hit. You know,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
I'm not taking Brienne if I can avoid it because night 2 point NCU, yeah, 2 point attachment is not fitting into any lists anytime soon. Lycene
Yeah.
Bosun got changes to Domineering Pride. Not
Oh, what
taking
was
it
that
anytime
change?
soon. They
I didn't know.
changed a lot of things now, and it's another funny thing. It's not just when you have more ranks; it's when you have the same or more ranks.
Oh yeah.
So I think it's also True Conviction got changed that way.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
True Conviction.
Oh, and
It's all
superior numbers.
yes. So
So,
long as you have
which
the same
should
or
be
more,
renamed as numbers
which is
because you
good
don't have to.
because when you're charging in, you have the
Period.
same ranks almost all the time.
Yeah. Dominating Pride's still a shitty one though, because it's like most likely you just got smacked in the face when you're taking a panic test. So it's like you're probably not gonna have the same or
Ranks
more
after you
ranks.
just got attacked. Probably not, but
Why are
also
you
they
doing this
can't.
to me?
I can count on. There's definitely been a lot of times where I've been interlocked in combat, fighting over control or being able to control or stop my opponent from controlling an objective because we've got the same ranks. And a random panic test could be literally the difference between one of you guys scoring or not from the crown
Okay,
table.
nice shout out. Way to use the noggin. That's a great shout out. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
But I mean, like, how often does it come up? Okay,
I don't know.
every couple
Yeah.
games, but it's that one game. It's gonna really feel good. So I don't know, but I'm never gonna take Lycene Bosun if neutrals aren't part of the 4 points, just because.
Right.
Why would I take a situational one when I can take, I don't know, I'm just gonna say Marcellin, emboldened Dauntless for 1 point. Yes, please.
Yeah, I did an interrogate. I've tried to use him before.
He
'Cause
looks
I love.
awesome.
Yeah, he's cool. He looks like a crazy ass pirate.
He is
But
a crazy ass pirate.
yeah, but there's no like the agency of those two abilities to be able to synergize is non-existent. Like what units have? There might be a couple. I can't off the top of my head. But what units have good defense but really crappy morale?
um, Baratheons in a nutshell.
Oh, really? Okay, well there you
Blackguard.
go. Hire some pirates.
Yeah, right.
Blackguards
Yeah,
have six. Six is fine,
it's fine.
but yeah,
But you don't want to fail it.
but yeah, that's true. I guess, but but then you don't have in return you don't have if you have this guy in Blackguard, when are you gonna interrogate? Never. So it's
Come
just kind
back
of
here.
it's kind of a weird it's kind of a weird attachment.
Yeah, no, he's
But
a weird attachment. I think he's funny, but
yeah,
that's the thing is like there were some interesting little changes that I'm probably still not going to use it, but hey, it's fun to read and maybe like see if I want to brew around it.
yeah.
So I definitely
Uh,
recommend everybody just flick through the change log.
yeah.
Flick
The
through
docs are up now.
yeah the documents got updated while we were talking.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Well, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we had to pull it from Facebook, but okay.
Yeah, we had to hack our way through to find the direct links to all this stuff. But now,
Yeah.
by the time this is posted, because by the time we were done talking, you guys should have access to all the most recent documents on the website. I'll probably also add that to the list of links.
Oh, you know what? You know what the pirate could be good in? I finally found one.
Go for it.
The iron. Oh wait, did the Iron Makers get buffed? Dang it,
Uh-oh.
their morale got buffed, huh? The Iron Makers.
Of course, dude. It's a Greyjoy unit. It's not allowed to be bad.
That was the one that had like good defense and really crappy morale. That would have been
Yeah, it
perfect.
was
Oh
like a
well.
3-7, and they were like, "You can't have 7 morale.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on,
We can't let Boltons do anything to any units.
you can't have
All right.
weaknesses." Yeah, no. So listen, dude, this was I think this was pretty productive. I thought it was pretty fun. I hope we get to do
Definitely.
another one of these, maybe next patch. I'll definitely be hitting you up.
Yeah. Well, in 6 weeks, we're gonna we'll have a little chat.
Okay. Oh, you want to
And
do a follow up in 6 weeks?
I,
See what's going on.
I 100% see how wrong and right we were about things for
Yeah,
sure.
let's try to challenge ourselves to play some of these units, or at least follow people
Yeah.
that play these units and
Yeah.
see what happened.
Uh, our nitpicky things that we're sad about, we must play at least a
Okay,
couple times and try to make use of them, and then try to prove ourselves wrong. There we go. That's what we'll do.
that sounds like a fun idea.
All right, man. One more shout out to Nationals, guys. Sign up for U.S. Nationals. Tickets are live. We need to see your names as ticket purchasers so we can do things like reveal more fun prizes and all that kind of stuff because we have a lot of ideas and things that we want to do, but without knowing for sure that enough people are coming, we can't make that commitment to buy this. Again, this is all volunteer self funded from ticket purchases, so we can't do things unless we sell tickets. So if you're coming, then grab those tickets, please. Let us know.
And I just want to throw in my 2 cents. I went to nationals last year, and I know it'll be a little different this year, but it was honestly the best part of it was meeting all the people that I've been chatting with online for years. Like I met Kenny from Montana out there, and that was really great because we had done an interview. You can go watch that on the channel after you're done here, about his win, and it was cool being able to hang out with all these people that I've talked to. Like I played people, and I'm like, I know you from Discord, don't I? Oh, we went back
Yeah,
and forth over this thing, and like meeting up with people after, and it was cool. So definitely like the community aspect cannot be overstated. Um,
100%.
at nationals, and definitely like I'm not saying like you do everything in your power to get there, but definitely like if you can make it and it was something you were considering, that here's this extra little push. Definitely want to go.
Oh yeah, and I know there's been just to put a little icing on that cake. I know there's been reports of previous nationals not celebrating all aspects of the game. That will not be the case this year. This is community ran. This is ran by all the TOs that you know from around the country. We're taking, we're discussing what's best and making the best event possible. There's going to be so many different categories of awards and prizes. It's going to be so much fun. So sign
I,
up.
I have been taking a peek at the chat you guys have got going, and yeah, it's some cool stuff is brewing.
Absolutely. So yeah, so thank you so much, and time for me to eat some dinner. So
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I kept you a little longer than you planned, didn't I?
that's all right. It was a good chat.
No, definitely. And I thank you very much again for agreeing to do this and coming on the show.
Yeah. I will give myself a little bit of self hype. I know that nationals is the focus, and it should be. But we have our regionals here as well coming up. Wardens of the West 3. It's going to be part of Pacificon on Labor Day weekend in the Bay Area. It's going to be a fantastic time as well. So let me know if you want to come to that, and I'll give you. It's a private link because it's a very huge discounted rate for the weekend badge just for our group. So let me know if you want to come, and I'll send you the link. So thanks.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, and have a great one, guys.
If you made it this far, thank you again, and we'll be back soon with more awesome battle reports featuring the new season. If you think we missed anything, write a comment below. Or, if you have a list that features some of the new changes, put it down below and we'll see if we can put it on the show. In any case, have a great one and see you next time.